And we are live. My name is Outlaw. I am your host of RNN Live. Now let's start with our host, starting from the bottom.
Oh, hi, I'm Putza, and I'm not the imposter.
Come on, you're fucking blue.
You're acting kind of sus.
Well, that's because I'm distracted right now.
I'm Demon. I'm back for the moment.
All right. Big Red?
Oh, I thought Demon was going to go next.
He did go.
Yeah,
Oh, shit, I wasn't paying attention. My fault. I'm Big Red Wolf. I draw, I make smart-ass comments, and also a musician.
All right.
okay, I didn't know about that part. Okay, the regular Nazi on the show, apparently I can't pronounce H according to fucking Demon.
You can't.
I literally don't hear a difference between the two words y'all keep saying.
Oh, you
Say
also
three.
cannot pronounce.
What?
Say 3.
3.
What can I not pronounce? Come on, say it.
I said say the number 3.
Tree.
Yeah, you said 3.
I literally don't hear a difference.
You pronounce it as though you're saying tree. It's 3.
Yeah, tree and tree.
There you go. A little better.
The first one was the plant. The second one was the number. What was the difference?
That is right, bro. Maybe Frau Miracle has gotten in your brain.
I should shut up.
All right.
Although what would be better is tree in German because that is just Baum.
Difference
All right.
verboten.
What's up, Roy?
Hi, everyone.
Sup?
Okay, now let's get our video started. So today's video, the first video we're going to have is Tulsi Gabbard spreads right-wing smear on Ilhan Omar from
Yeah.
the Michael Brooks Show, also known as the Majority Report because Michael Brooks is dead. Literally, the guy's dead.
Michael Brooks is dead?
Yeah, you don't need to keep bringing up the dead body. We know you hate him.
Yes, because he was a goddamn commie and he was a complete asshole. No redeeming qualities.
He was a fucking father, and you're saying this on a goddamn live stream. Show some respect to the dead.
Well, I'm sorry for his family. I mean, and that is honestly, I am, because I've had a recent family friend recently die, and I'm sorry for his family's loss, but I just hate this particular guy. I don't hate his family. I just hate him.
Vengeance.
Anyways, let's get on with the video.
Oh boy.
All right, so should we talk about Tulsi Gabbard?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Oh, this douche.
Also, shouldn't they change the channel name by now since he's dead, if they're going to use the channel?
Don't fix what ain't broken.
Nobody does
Yeah.
do that.
I mean,
Nobody
because
else is.
I mean, unless it was like he would be fine with it, maybe they know that. But
Oh, please.
if they don't, isn't that kind of a bit disrespectful? Unless you know, that he would
You
be
do
fine?
realize we're talking about communists. They
True.
don't give a shit about whether they're dead or not. I mean, remember, the same people who are proclaiming that we should respect Ruth Bader Ginsburg's last wishes also seem to ignore that she also went on record saying in the 90s to justify her being placed in the as a Supreme Court justice that the president has to do everything in his power to put in a new judge. It's like,
See?
which one is it? Oh, it's a comment I have to read.
All right. I'm going to play.
If that guy is dead, do they become the Minority Report? Well, if the main guy is dead, it kind of makes sense.
Okay. Does anybody else see what I'm seeing?
I think he was technically
What are you saying?
What are you saying?
Demon was-
Could you drive a semi truck through the gap in that chick's teeth?
Oh.
Okay, someone else mentioned that it wasn't me.
Damn.
She does have a spacious gap. He was a commie.
He's fine
He
with
is
sharing.
fine. He is fine with sharing. I mean, all I wanted to say was, Outlaw, what you could do is show 5 minutes of respect, 5 seconds of respect to the dead body, and then throw it in the mass grave.
What? He's. Oh, jeez. I mean, the guy's been dead for like a month now, so.
Yeah, but
Why?
it's still going to be fresh in his kid's mind.
I'm sorry, as I said, I'm sorry for the family. I know losses of family members and friends are not good, are not great. They're terrible. I mean, as I said, I recently lost a family friend. She was, I miss her. I mean, I would have liked to introduce Val to her, but sad I was never able to do that.
And I still have suspicions to that, because wasn't she an informant for your mother initially when she worked in the FBI?
Well, yeah, she used to be. She used to go into, I think it was, I think she pretended to be an Islamist, if I recall.
Islamist?
Well, that's easy to infiltrate if you wear a burqa.
I think. I can't remember for sure. I can't remember what my mom said she used to do for her exactly. But yeah, she used to work with my mom. But yeah, it's just sad that she passed away. And I understand the family and I'm sorry for their loss. It's never good to lose a family or a friend. And I understand that. But him as a person, I despise.
Well, he
Okay,
was.
continue before it takes us an hour to get through a 7-minute video.
Yeah, this statement's getting awkward enough.
All right.
So yeah, exactly. And
Speaking of girl power.
I would just like to say it's not me being racist against Tulsi Gabbard if I bring up the fact that she used to troll Barack Obama about not saying radical Islamic terrorism. That's not me not taking into her background. That's me calling her out as like a reactionary propagandist, a messenger for a long time, since before she endorsed Bernie. Anyway, so she Tulsi retweeted the Project Veritas smear job of Ilhan Omar.
Smear job.
But it's not a smear job. They literally recorded it.
I was about to say, that was
Together
good
to begin
journalism.
with. I mean, immediately you look at the guy who was tying. First of all, we don't even know that the ballot
Project
harvesting
Veritas
alleged
got,
was.
I forgot what his name from CNN removed.
Unlawful, because there's a whole month where that kind of ballot harvesting was lawful. That has no connection to Ilhan. The only connection was this guy who has a reputation of telling the national media what they want to hear about the Somali community in Minneapolis, which is namely like in the Obama administration that there's Al-Qaeda cells, or recently that Ilhan's anti-Semitic because of the All About the Benjamins comment. Anyway, James O'Keefe got in touch with this guy because that's what he's there for.
Some people did something.
This guy baselessly tried to connect this spurious video they had to Ilhan Omar, and there's absolutely no reason to suspect that there was a connection beyond this guy's, statements. Anyway, so AOC got on to Tulsi after Mukhtar Ibrahim tweets out the story. Breaking: Liban Osman, subject of Project Veritas alleged voter fraud story, tells Fox 9 he was offered $10K by Omar Jamel, the guy who said the stuff about the Al-Qaeda cells, to say that he was collecting ballots for Congress.
Ibrahim is an anti-Semite.
So AOC tweets at Tulsi: "You, along with everyone else who amplified this fraudulent story, owe Representative Omar a public apology." Now,
No.
she sort of does this.
Do we know if this has been confirmed yet? If this actually happened?
He claimed that he was part of the spaceship, but nobody believes that.
It's under investigation. So
Do we know how hard of evidence there is, or
for what the guy said?
For what it was allegedly Ilhan Omar had done? Or what was it? Ilhan Omar, or was it? What's this say? Can you read it, Val?
Fuck, why are you sending me the one?
Hold on, I'll make it a little bigger.
Breaking: Liban Osman, subject of Project Veritas alleged voter fraud story, tells at Linden Fox 9 he was offered $10,000 by Omar Jamal. He was collecting bailouts for Congresswoman at Inan.
Funny thing about that, Veritas is suing the guy who said that. But he reported that story. They're looking to sue him.
So he was offered 10,000 by someone.
No, he wasn't. He made it up. I'm saying Veritas is suing the guy who reported that he supposedly did say that.
Okay, so what is Ilhan Omar exactly supposed to be believed to be guilty of?
Ballot harvesting.
So it is ballot harvesting, collecting the ballots and throwing them out. Is that what it is? If I recall,
Tim Pool's actually got a good explanation, I think, on how to do that. On what that means is exactly. But from what it sounds like to me, is that they get people to say, go up to your neighbors or whatever and say, hey, just fill this out. Make sure you mark whoever. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll fill it out for their grandmother or their sons or whatever who might not be able to vote. Shit like that.
Basically, I can break it down for you real quick. Basically, they go to nursing homes and places with people that just don't really know what's going on. And so they take their ballots and they're like, okay, just sign it and we'll fill it out for you.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell me who you want to vote for. And then they fill it out however they want. And then they take them all in, which is completely illegal. And we've seen that happen in Jersey, New York, like a whole bunch
I
of
was going to try to bring up New Jersey because recently U.S. Postal Service, I forgot if he was a delivery man or courier, has been arrested because he was caught throwing out ballots.
They just arrested a guy that's running for office in Texas.
Ooh.
For ballot fraud.
Fun.
I know. Yeah, really trusting that mail-in voting right now.
so it sounds like they could.
100 pounds.
But how would they know what the person's going to vote for unless there was a sign out saying who they're voting for? They told them. It's like, how would they know which ballots to throw out even?
I don't know. If anything, I think that this probably affects Biden because more of his voters would be mail-in voting anyway.
Yep.
That's a very good point because a lot of these mail-in ballots,
But
like
here's-
those of us that are, well, I mean, like me, because I'm right-wing, I'm going to vote in person. I am not trusting the Postal Service to take my ballot. So I'm going to go vote in person. But a lot of the people that are mailing it in are left-wing. So if they're dumping left-wing ballots,
But they're not going to dump those.
It would be ironic.
Well, they could dump those because, like, unless you're going to open it, how are you going to know what the person's voting for?
I mean, as far as I understand with the New Jersey one, the one who's been arrested, the issue was that his main goal was to dump Republican. But he also dumped to some Democrats, and he's also being charged with extra cases because he also dumped people's personal packages. So he's dumped everything basically. The only thing he didn't do was drive his van into a ditch and then set it on fire.
I see. So what it is they really don't know, but they dump it anyways, assuming that it was predominantly against their party.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll just open it up, look at it, and then dump it again.
also,
if you open it up, then it kind of would get thrown out one way or the other because anything that's been tampered with it would be automatically get thrown out.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, this is going to be a very interesting election.
Yeah, to say the least.
We'll see how it turns out.
Well, if one vote that isn't properly counted, there's going to be a shit ton of lawsuits.
Oh, and by the way, one thing I would like to say is I'm planning on doing a special live stream on November 3rd for election night. So depending on how many of you guys, if any of you can be there, I'll be doing that.
I'll probably take the day off.
So yeah, I'll be doing it on November 3rd, which is election night. And that will also be the 20th episode of RNN Live.
Sweet.
All right, let's get this video done. But first, let's go through a couple of comments we have here. And so, hello, Pedro.
Hola, señor.
All right.
But then the Dems would claim the election was unfair because of all of their ballots got thrown out.
And then they riot and they try to secede again, and we have to beat them down.
Mail-in ballots will give Trump the popular vote. That's my bold prediction. I wonder just how far you have to go to have 100% election integrity, because even if you vote in person, you still can't be 100% sure they're counting correctly and not faking information. Or
Well, it always
Whatever.
works for Putin. It always works for Putin.
you should hop on Don's stream for election day.
Don's stream.
He's talking about plebeian media.
Yeah, but we got our own stream.
Yeah.
And besides, I think Don is going to be doing his own thing. Besides, I would like to do my own stream as well. Anyways, let's get this started again.
Tulsi responds, AOC at Ilhan. The issue is not about any of us. It's about voter harvesting. Ilhan, I apologize for referencing the PV story as an example without thoroughly vetting it. Without thoroughly vetting a Project Veritas story. You're a Democratic member of
mistake.
Congress. You should be
Unlike
pretty
here in
aware.
Europe, where
You
we
should
keep letting
recognize
people
what
in
this
without
group is.
any vetting.
Now and then she trolls Ilhan and AOC about ballot harvesting. Now, I would say to Tulsi Gabbard, if she's so concerned about ballot harvesting, maybe she should take it up with Donald Trump, whose ballot is harvested as legal to do so. Ballot harvesting is fine if it's legally done and done so with like election security.
No, it's
100%
not.
fine to do, helps people vote, which is a good thing. Which is why Donald Trump uses it.
Wait,
What?
What is he insinuating?
no, that is. Oh God, I hate these people.
Hasn't Trump come out against ballot harvesting himself?
Yes.
Yeah. Another thing is, people were claiming that which he probably has done a couple times, but voting by mail for the election, he went and voted personally for himself. Flew over to New York and voted on one of those machines. Yeah. They don't mention that.
Okay. Z?
So Outlaw, how are the coffins going sent in their mail in ballots? Okay.
Coffins. Dead
And
people
then
have
they'll
rights
have
too.
their final wish be that Joe Biden wins. What?
Hey, dead cats are getting ballots, so why
That's
not?
true.
That's true.
But so, I mean, I don't know what there's to say about Tulsi other than she knows the water she's fishing in. And like people shouldn't be surprised that she's doubling down on continuing to like basically bolster these election fraud claims about the Somali community in Minnesota. It's disgusting.
Yeah, but have
I
you
would
seen
recommend
the
the
Somali
Sahan
community
Journal.
in Minnesota?
I'm about to say there's this little thing called evidence to prove that.
And Islam.
Yeah, well, Islam's just poison.
How's Joe Biden doing with the zombie vote?
Oh, he's doing very good. I mean, he's getting even the founders voting for him again.
For
Wait, what?
some reason. Yeah, exactly.
You did not get my joke, Z?
Yeah, I got the joke, but I thought you were being serious.
No.
Why would you think I was being serious?
I'm sorry, about 3 million votes every election turn comes from dead people. I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly George Washington was voting again.
Well, there are people named George Washington now. It's
I wonder who Nixon voted for.
yeah, or Reagan.
I hate his mustache.
Which one? We got two.
Oh, you mean the pedo mustache guy?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't let children anywhere around him.
I mean, there's two ways you can cut off.
The other one looks like a serial killer.
No. Okay, that one is completely arguable. I was just going to make the joke that the other guy comes off as two ways. Either a pedo stash or a 1980s porn star stash. The difference is it's not the 80s anymore, and Twitter exists. So,
Oh wow.
pedo
I'm gonna say I don't think he's an actual pedophile. or anything.
No.
I just don't think
The
it's very
jokes,
good to
people.
wear a mustache like that because it just.
We're not calling him a pedophile.
I know. I just want to make it clear for those who are watching. That's all.
Sure.
I thought we
Extra
made it
thick.
pretty clear we're not calling him a pedophile. It's just he has a pedo stash.
Yes, and it is. I know. I just wanted to make it clear for those who are watching or who are watching in the future.
If it's in parody, it's fair use. So
I just don't. That kind of mustache is just very unattractive and just does not look right.
I'm gonna say if you ever
Unless you're
join into
Justin Ball.
if you ever join into politics, your streams will be the last thing that would get you in trouble, politically speaking.
That's true.
Why, are you saying my videos would be more get me in trouble?
No, I'm not talking about your YouTube channel at all.
Oh. Then what are you
Your
talking
porn
about?
history would ruin you.
My what?
That is
Your
true.
porn history.
Oh,
Oh,
dude.
That would aid it.
What? It's
Okay, let's
only
get on.
furry porn and stuff like that.
Have you
on with
seen
it.
furry porn?
For people who
Oh,
might want
God.
to support some media related to that's on the ground there. Here's a really good article that I found sort of on the day. Right, none of this. I want to stress. I say it fell apart. It fell apart, but it was already just complete sham. And yeah, the Sahan Journal was right on the story at the beginning.
The
So
what?
I don't know what really we need to say other than the Tulsi people are grifters. Tulsi's a political enemy, and it's good that people are on notice about her. More the better.
I appropriated the Pelosi clap because I appreciate what you
Yeah.
did.
I'll give
Is
you
she
one of
doing the
these.
baby shark dance?
Which, by the way, everyone, maybe she did. Maybe the myth about her taking this big risk to endorse Bernie in 2016 is true, but people are taking a lot of stuff on faith with regards to like how much she really gave up and what the story really is there. So I don't know. Tulsi can get out of here.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I'm like, thank God that her. I mean, yeah, her whole thing. Why was she running in 2020 in the first place for president? It's because she's definitely seeing the end of her runway for her grift, and it's important that people on our side start to realize that it's been a grift.
You know
from
what?
the
this guy
get-go.
really comes off
And
that he
we
would be
should
good
have
friends with
trusted
Ted
her. And,
Bundy.
like people who have this kind of like being ideologically incoherent as Tulsi is. It's very dangerous because usually that, I mean,
It's not just us being upset people didn't read the books we read. Like,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's more than that.
Well, wasn't
People
it,
have read the
originally
Communist
when the alarm
Manifesto
bells heard
and have
really
died
kind of
after
alt-right
reading it and
government
trying to
in
make it
India?
real.
Wasn't it like the first?
I
Or
mean,
the
there's
kill
multiple. She's in photographs with like far right Zionists at
Yeah.
meeting like
Wait, who are these Zionists?
What?
Tulsi
Okay, you
Gabbard?
anti-Semite
They
Are you
know-
talking about
bitch.
the same person?
What did we just hear?
Bullshit to me.
Sorry, I didn't quite hear what they said. What exactly did they say?
Chelsea Gabbard was being with a bunch of Zionists.
Far
what?
right Zionists.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's far right Zionists, and it's like, wait, are these people anti-Semitic?
Yes. So is Ilhan.
I mean,
Yeah,
these
of course.
people are also racist, so I mean, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
big
These are some
surprise
people
that
that
they'd
call-
be anti-Semitic.
These are the same people that call Ben Shapiro a Nazi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
and
just-
Candace Owens is a white supremacist.
Yep.
Oh boy, what the fuck did you drag us into?
King George. Only the third
Did
one.
King George vote for Joe Biden?
Probably.
Don't American voters deserve to know if you will pack the Supreme Court? All right, this was either today or yesterday. No, they don't deserve to know.
Yeah, we do. Just Joe Biden's an a-hole.
Joe Biden 2020. This is not an endorsement. It's just a record date in case humanity becomes extinct and the aliens find somehow this YouTube video as evidence of what existed before.
Joe doesn't
go-
know until they tell him.
Go figure. Perhaps Joe doesn't know either. Maybe if the leaked email is to be believed, he's supposed to be only president for like 3 months.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and Kamala is a very terrifying human being. She's one of the biggest authoritarians I've ever met in politics. Like, for God's sakes, like one of her first statements, I remember she was debating Elizabeth Warren, was wanting to censor Donald Trump's Twitter page. And because she thought it was doing damage to the country and everything. Like, the guy's literally the president.
Yeah.
And plus, how many people she's arrested for what light drug charges? She's holding back information from
Tulsi Gabbard you're talking about?
no,
Kamala.
the VP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
Do you
crazy.
want to have to listen to her cackling laugh for 4 years? Shut up.
I don't want her
It was
anywhere
hard
near
to
the
deal
White
with
House.
her for that debate. I don't want to deal with her for 4 years.
Hell no.
She'd be
See?
cray-cray.
Z.
Yeah. The above messages were accidentally bleached along with 30,000 emails. Oh boy. Tulsi Gabbard is a radical communist. The fact that the right wing thinks she's reasonable is terrifying.
She's a communist. How?
I don't know if she's a communist or a communist / socialist. I really don't know for sure. I know she supported Bernie Sanders.
I
Other than
do
that,
remember
I really
something. I do remember something that she's akin to a socialist, but I don't think the right is praising her for that. I think it's more because she's willing to talk with her opposition, unlike certain other people.
She's willing to
She's
talk.
just not as crazy as the rest of them.
Right.
She's still a socialist.
Well, yeah, but she's willing to have a conversation about shit.
I think the best thing is if she was to ever be in any capacity within the cabinet, I would like her for as what was it? Secretary of Defense handles the
foreign wars.
Yeah.
That I could kind of see.
That sounds good. She's very against the wars in the Middle East.
Yeah, but
Finally,
she's also very anti-Second Amendment.
Honestly, if the United States ever somehow leaves the Middle East in our lifetime, I want that we start a bet now. Who would start the next war? Is it Turkey or Saudi Arabia?
Probably Saudi.
Well, if we aren't,
yeah.
I was going to say, well, if we aren't out if I ever get in, then we will definitely make sure. I will definitely make sure to get us out.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Z, that's your problem.
Why is that my problem?
Because we're done with y'all.
What?
No more military for you.
Oh, for Germany from NATO.
Oh, I already Trump has removed some units from Germany, and I'm fully supportive because Merkel is just freaking out, and it's actually resulted in her drops pointing down. So, her points going down.
I saw this really good.
Yeah. So I am in full support of the United States leaving Europe because Europeans, or more precisely, European governments have had it so good for so long with the whole situation, and it's just like, you fucking entitled bastards. The most annoying thing I saw in my life was somewhere outside of Regensburg. There was this stupid as fuck anti-bombing campaign that some hippie group was doing in Germany. And they claimed that the German Air Force was conducting bombing raids in the Middle East. And it's like, this is so fucking incoherent because first off, we don't actually have bombers. We have fighter aircraft that can carry bombs. The issue is that the Luftwaffe hasn't had a single bomb since 2013. We're out of bombs, quite literally.
Okay, go on.
Yeah. It's just the whole thing that these people keep complaining that we're doing this stuff in the Middle East when it's like we don't even have the ammunition, we don't even have the fuel. To give an idea of how bad the situation is, out of 200 something, what was it? Sea Phantom, whatever is the current Eurofighter jet. Out of 208, I think, Germany only has 4 which are actually military capable.
Jeez.
That's how bad the situation is.
Is that why you guys wanted the JSF?
No.
Anyways, I think we're done with that video. So it was only like a couple minutes left. So I figured we pretty much touched it. So why don't we go on to the next video?
Hold on. Before you start the video, I'm just looking at the title going, this can't be real. The downfall of Tulsi Gabbard from progressive rising star to PragerU propagandist.
Right?
No.
I really don't see her career taking any kind of downfall.
Well, not just that. Just like PragerU propagandist. PragerU has all sorts of people on.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get on with the video.
It is critical to Remember that the strength of our democracy lies in the integrity of our elections.
Stop.
Every one of us has to have faith that our vote will count.
So I've made multiple videos on Tulsi Gabbard in the past, and I don't know if my audience care about that stuff anymore.
Okay.
You remember this guy?
Yes,
I know this guy.
Getting PTSD.
Okay, hold on. Can I just make one point? We live in a constitutional republic. We do not live in a democracy, so I gotta take issue with Tulsi on that one. I'm sick of them all saying it's a threat to our democracy. Well, I'm sorry, you dumbass. We don't live in a democracy.
Well, they're saying that for a reason. They're saying that intentionally.
To be fair, it's a yes and a no on the democracy part. It's a yes in the sense in a technical word definition, we live in a democracy. But using the word democracy is too broad.
Right.
That's the problem with the word democracy. A better way to describe the U.S. is a constitutional federalist republic.
Yes.
It's not a democracy, though, Rational. I mean, that's...
No, I'm just talking about in the word definition of what a democracy is. Republic is a form of democracy. It's just a very specific kind of democracy.
Well, it's a constitutional.
Oh boy.
If you look at the Declaration of Independence, if you look at the Federalist Papers, if you look at the Constitution, it specifically says why we don't have a democracy.
Well, yes, but when the founders were referring to democracy, they were referring to a direct democracy, which is another kind of democracy. Anyways, I'm not going to get into the argument here. My whole thing is that wording-wise, it's not technically wrong, but it's also not right entirely because it is way too broad of a definition to use to refer to the United States. Anyways, let's go on with the video.
Seems that I've shifted my content into cultural and political things rather than strictly political things. But I do know a lot of you care about all these right-wing talking heads, and of course PragerU, I've heard people say it differently, platforms a lot of these idiots to peddle misinformation. And another name I can't really say is it Gravel Institute, named after, the presidential candidate Mike Gravel, have set up a counter to PragerU. In this video, I want to...
It's pronounced PragerU.
Yeah. Like praying to God.
Talk about Tulsi Gabbard sort of being this rising progressive star in America, and then ending up on a PragerU propaganda video designed to push
for fuck's sake, just say Prager. It's not that hard.
Of course, they targeted people like Ilhan Omar. But then I'm going to contextualize it by talk about how Tulsi has always been pretty problematic, and people just like to ignore it.
I hate the word problematic.
Make the general point.
The only time the word problematic should ever be used is when a fucking gearbox toot is broken, because that's when it's problematic. Because either that gearbox is going to work or it's going to blow up in your face.
She is, I guess, anti-interventionist, and she may support things that seem progressive on the surface. It isn't born out of an ideology that me and you would necessarily agree with. But before we go any further, if you like this video...
The ideologies that he agrees with has probably caused more human suffering than anything that Tulsi Gabbard will ever believe in.
Or actually, I got a good example of how good his ideology is. Because I would suspect that he would be pro-Antifa. Yes?
No, I believe so. He's a communist, so...
He's an idiot. Got it.
Did y'all hear of the FBI bust of an Antifa illegal rally? Do y'all know how that happened? That bust?
Yes, I did.
Then would you like to elaborate?
A Black Lives Matter supporter got tired of Antifa apparently being all white and using their banner to have rallies and riots and stuff. So he ratted them out of where they're going to meet.
Yes. One of their own fucking allies ratted them out because they're so focused on politics. Or on stupid identity politics, to be more precise. Literally, their biggest enemy is themselves.
Alright, let's get on with the video.
Yes.
So maybe subscribe to the channel, maybe share with people you may think like this. My subs have been down lately, although the views have stayed good. So I'm hoping to keep growing and keep spreading
Outlaw, you're not helping.
in my
We're
videos.
giving this guy
any
views.
help, I would really appreciate it. And to that end,
But it's only if you
social
want to
media
count, not
links
5.
and Patreon in the description. So before we get into criticisms and things that are bad with Tulsi, I think we should really point out how she got a reputation as a progressive, as I guess a leftist in some respects, and her career within the progressive movement. So of course she was an early backer of Bernie Sanders in February 2016. She even resigned as the vice chair of the DNC over this, and she constantly spoke out about Bernie Sanders' treatment at the hands of the DNC, and of course that the DNC were in the bag for Hillary, seemingly all the way back in 2012 when she left the Obama administration. So that's good. She also has consistently called out, the military-industrial complex. That is good as well. She is obviously a veteran herself, and I guess she has seen through her service in Iraq how meaningless US wars often are and how they are fought for profit and in general for capitalism. I don't think she points that out.
Do we have to read this comment?
Okay. Tulsi believes in socialism. She's just a nationalist who likes America. I wonder what ideology that matches from a certain 1930s Italian dictator.
Or a certain Austrian dictator.
Yeah, I'm going to say Austrian because Mussolini does not fit that category at all.
Well,
Mussolini wasn't a socialist, he was a fascist.
Yeah. But yeah, fascism also has ideology.
Well, yes, we know. Fascism
Nationality.
has its roots in Marxism.
Yeah, true,
Yeah,
obviously. But
No,
I'm just saying.
it doesn't make sense with the Italian dictator because, I mean, Hitler changed quite a lot of the culture to make his government work. In Italy, they didn't change much. It just went from a poor, bankrupt government that was run by a king to now a country which was still bankrupt, but now was a totalitarian with another wannabe king.
No, it became fascist in the sense it was still economically controlled heavily.
Well, not that. I'm just saying. Like, there's the littlest difference between fascism and communism, at least in my head, is the focus on nationality. More than
Well, there is that. The main difference, I would say, or the biggest difference as to why fascism is more successful or can be successful, at least in the sense that it would actually be sustainable,
right.
is the fact that it's not a full control of the economy. They have it in the sense that they will tell you what to do, what to sell, how much to sell, all of that. However, private businesses still run themselves. They're not run by government officials.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to say. It was, even with Germany, it was only into the latter halves of World War II that a lot of business and places were taken over by the SS as Himmler's way to try to ensure victory, which only resulted in a long list of things going horribly wrong. But with Italy, yeah, almost every other business, whatever you can think of, Fiat is the main one that comes to my mind. All of those remained independent from the state. It's just that typically they relied on state payment. The other issue was, state funding. But the other issue was also both of these countries were starting from financial ruin.
True.
And one thing that they needed was to sell things, to make exports. And the key thing was that a lot of these base companies, you got Fiat making cars as well. You got Volkswagen, with the famous Beetle. The issue was that didn't bring much money. And one thing that brings a lot of companies money is weapons development.
That's true.
Back then and now. The issue was with these governments, you wanted your weapons mainly to stay with yourself. They couldn't follow the British model, where they were selling everyone like the Vickers 6 tons or the Vickers 5 tons, which they sold to everyone, or even at the end of World War I with the Mark 8s. They couldn't do the same. So basically what I'm trying to say is that the ideal image is fascism can work because they realize the importance of export and independent control of businesses.
Well, yes, the best way to describe fascism is a functioning form of communism.
I'm gonna have to disagree. Generally, to put a simplistic definition of fascism is look at Quebec. Quebec is severely nationalistic towards their French language. and they will censor businesses and anybody who tries to use any other language.
Yeah, but that's a different story. They're coming from France. France has always been pseudo-communist.
Well, no, fascism is not an economic model. It's just trying to create a sphere of influence of a certain language, ethnicity.
Well, no, fascism does have an economic model. That is in the actual ideology. It has an economic plan. It is both an economic and a cultural, social model. It has multiple different parts to it. What are you saying no to, Pedro?
I'm saying no too.
No, I don't think fascism can be democratic and be many things. All it is just trying to create an isolated sphere of influence.
No, because if you look at directly what the philosophers and what was intended and how the past fascist countries were, they had a particular kind of economic model they were following. They
all had different economic models.
But there's still the economic aspect of fascism itself.
Well, it's not linked to the idea. When fascism came up to a pretty hard economic time, especially after the Great Depression.
Yeah, but I don't see what your issue would be with this situation, because then it comes to the whole argument of like communism, because China's communism, even underneath Mao Zedong, was different from the Soviet Union's communism.
Well, because communism has a goal and objective just to create essentially a classless society. And you can go anarcho, and you can go full. Well, I know, but they can go full anarcho, or they can go full authoritarian. The ways you're going about it is one thing versus what the actual idea is.
But,
and it is. Go ahead.
Do you want me to step in for a second?
Sure.
Okay. So rational. Z. The difference between communism and fascism is razor thin. They're both socialist, and it's ludicrous to think that they're very much different.
We never said they were very much different.
We never said that they were different.
In fact, we were saying the opposite of what you think we were saying. We were saying they're very much similar. The only difference is that the economy isn't fully controlled by the government. What they do is they tell what businesses what to do, what to make, how much to charge, who to sell to. However, they let businesses operate somewhat in it of themselves.
So does
the best form
China.
Current communist China is more like a fascist country.
Well, China is fascist.
And I wanted to bring up the example of Argentina and whatchamacallit?
Venezuela?
Not Venezuela, Spain. Because these were both fascist countries that worked with the Nazis. My basic point was that they lasted long enough with relative peacefulness, except for the human rights violations, but let's face it, every country does that at some point, especially in the 20th century. But both of these places collapsed after a civil war or a military coup. Military coup being Argentina.
But yeah, anyways, for example...
The only one that doesn't fit that category is Chile, which also had a fascist government that also worked with the Nazis. But it was in the 90s they voted to replace the fascist political system with democracy.
Hey, Pinochet didn't do nothing.
But anyways, me and Z were never saying that the fascism was so vastly different from communism. We were just saying that there are some differences, some key differences, and as I said before, fascism is basically like a functioning form of communism. The reason why it's functioning is because they don't have full control of the economy. They leave businesses be able to do somewhat of what they want, but not fully. And the best example of a fascist country today is communist China, because communist China has, from when it was first communist, it has relinquished some regulations and control over the economy, and so that way it's able to function a bit more.
Right.
Well, essentially what I was trying to say is that you don't need to use authoritarian means to achieve fascism.
Well, no, we weren't saying that either. I mean, for example, Mussolini was...
What I was trying to say is the people that went and tried to do fascists or more fascists are just very economically authoritarian. Like, for instance, Oswald Mosley tried to achieve fascism through democratic means. And
Well,
what
for
I'm trying to
example,
say is-
Mussolini achieved it through democratic means.
well, sort of.
I mean, to be fair, he did have technically more of a people's vote than Hitler, but that's also because, once again, Mussolini had the direct support of the army because they were also fed up with the king just being fairly lazy. I mean, the economy is ruined, everyone is starving, but the Italian king is living in his mansion and, eating food.
Mhm.
And they didn't exactly riot. I think the most hilarious thing when it comes to Mussolini is, the famous quote, what?
Nothing. Hold on.
I think the most hilarious thing that comes when it comes to Mussolini, especially coming to power, is, the famous quote, "You and what army?" Because that basically happened to Mussolini when he came up, and the king said, basically akin to "you and what army," only to have the Italian army show up and backing Mussolini.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Mussolini had the public support and also the military support. They did not have to shed pretty much any blood to get power, unlike Hitler had to still kill quite a few people to gain full power.
I will still hold my ground. Hitler had to do it because the communists were killing everyone. Because the German Communist Party, aka the Antifa Party, never forget that. Never forget where their logo comes from. Always blame Germany for some fucking reason.
Anyways, let's get on with this video.
No.
As much as people would like, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's why people like her in general. Now, I think the anti-intervention stuff was the real thing that was appealing about her. Of course, she's an attractive young politician. When she talks about, I guess contemporary issues, even regarding things like technology.
I mean, yeah, she is kind of attractive. If I wasn't gay, I'd probably want to fuck her.
I would.
Could you stop taking with your dick for once?
What?
If
I'm
you
always
act
horny.
You try to fuck everyone.
Remember, I'm the horny one, you're the kinky one.
Oh, shut up.
And I'm not suspicious.
Than a lot of the old people you get in American politics and even British politics. So it was refreshing to see someone who was, a similar age to a lot of people. She's a millennial, and even though I don't feel like...
Wait, she's a millennial? I thought she was Gen X.
X. No.
Let me look this up. How old is Tulsi Gabbard?
For non-sexual reasons.
She's younger than me.
Let me see. Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, and when is millennial generation?
If she's 37, she's an elder millennial.
Millennial generation. Time period. Oh, I guess she is technically a millennial. Barely.
Yeah, she is.
83.
She's 39 years old.
Oh, damn.
I thought she was older.
I make the bottom end of Gen X. Because I'm 41.
So basically, she's at the kind of tail end of the starting of the millennials.
What age is she again?
39. She's 39. She was born in 1981.
I see.
She's an older millennial.
Although, to be fair, I think the millennial generation should be split up at least in half. I think that's way too large of a time period.
That's what she said.
Anyways, let's get this started again.
She's from the same generation as me. Like, I feel AOC is a lot closer. I guess for a lot of people, it's just, so different from what you get, they found that attractive. So she closely aligned with the Bernie camp. But, progressive is such a broad term, and just being anti-Hillary and to the left of Hillary isn't really saying much. And now let's delve a bit deeper into her history and how she actually seems like she has had a core set of beliefs that are problematic to people on the left. And she's just held some left-wing positions, but not always informed by left-wing politics, and how her descent into, playing along with trans jokes on Twitter and then pushing right-wing propaganda and
I find it interesting how the whole thing of trans jokes has become such a left-wing thing because these people think as suddenly like we've been progressive for trans people, or the Democratic Party or anyone's been very progressive for trans people in the last 20 years. This has only happened very recently.
Mm-hmm.
They act as if this has been going on for 50 years. For most of the time, people don't even know what the fuck a trans person was.
They've been acting like this has been going on for 2,000 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, most people didn't even know what a trans person was until like 10 years ago. It's like, this hasn't been going on very long. The idea of what a trans person is, and most people didn't know for so long time until recently. And they act as if now that it's been becoming more and more accepted, everyone must accept it. You must accept it. If you don't accept it, you're evil. No, you got to give people time to adjust to these kinds of things.
Not only that, even then, you're not necessarily going to convince literally every single person about it. So.
Oh yeah, it's just like you're expecting society to change so fast, and that's just ridiculous to do.
Yeah, and especially to something that you can argue isn't reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a few comments here.
Not biologically.
No. Wholesome Pedro is best, Pedro. Also, I wonder what you get when you mix Pinky with a fascination with weapons. I'd be worried. Shut up. Generation Zoom gang.
Yeah, that's your gang there, Z.
Yeah, I'm still gonna rediscover how to split the atom. I somewhat vaguely recall hearing that Obama opposed gay marriage going into his first term. That's true.
That is true.
So is Hillary. And any other list of politicians that we can name off who say Joe
Biden.
Pro...
Joe Biden was anti-gay marriage and voted against.
So was Obama.
You know, a really interesting fact about Joe Biden is he pioneered a lot of the drug war. He was right there with Reagan.
And apparently, according to some things I heard, that he was actually even more pro-drug war than even Reagan.
Yeah.
Sounds about right to me.
Okay. The most recent portrays of trans-like people within the last couple of years was the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yeah, film that my father showed me when I was 6 years old. Why am I
going to see that in person?
What?
I said I remember going to see it in person.
Oh, lucky you. New studies New studies have shown that transgender surgery doesn't lower the Of course, it doesn't lower the suicide rate.
You already knew that, I thought.
It's a psychological problem.
Well, yes, it's a psychological problem. The only thing it can do is reduce. For some trans people, can potentially reduce the symptoms of their gender dysphoria. But the whole thing is they want to be able to be perceived as the sex they feel they are.
And start portraying yourself as the sex you perceive that you are.
First and foremost, they could try looking like it, because there's several bad examples that we can think of, like the It's Ma'am individual.
Oh, yes, there are those.
Z, if you saw my friend Shay, you wouldn't know that she was actually a dude.
Well, we all know of Blair White, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, name the number of times you've heard a person say that they're trans, and you didn't even need to know that they were trans to notice that. Especially with the aid of Twitter and anime avatars.
It's about anybody that Blair brings on. I can't tell unless they say something about it.
Well, yes. I mean, there are those who can pass very easily as the sex they believe they are to be, and then there are a lot, probably most trans people can't pass as their sex they want to appear as. I think women might have. Biological women might have an easier time to be passing off as men than biological men passing off as women.
It just depends on genetics, and I'm sorry, look at the Asians. Look at Japanese cosplayers who can switch between female.
Oh yes, genetics plays a huge factor, like your facial structure, your body structure, different things. Some are very much can easily pass if, even if they haven't had surgeries, could easily pass as women or pass as men. And then there are some who can't pass at all, and they would have to have some surgeries to at least somewhat pass. Anyways, let's get on with this video. Why did we get on the trans thing again?
Because you chose to choose a comment.
Oh, that's right. It was because he mentioned the trans thing. That you must accept trans people. You cannot make jokes. It's like, seriously, dude, you got to give people time to adjust things. And quite frankly, there's nothing wrong with jokes.
No, I was about to say, as long as there's nothing jest in it, who cares? You can make fun of anyone for anything.
What isn't helping the acceptance, if you will, is the multi-gendered crap. Because if y'all ever saw Count Dankula's video, he calculated how many genders there are according to the political left. And this was several years ago, so that number is bound to have exploded now.
What, like
Long story short, there are more genders according to the political left than there are stars in our universe.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting to me is that they think personality differences are genders. It's just like, no. Some people are just more this or more that. It's not necessarily men are strictly, totally, completely masculine, football, plumbing, mechanics, etc.
Yeah. They say that, because you like dresses, you're non-binary. Or you're a completely different gender.
Or you could just be a cross-dresser.
Yes.
Or both.
Yes, exactly. I mean, gender expression is not gender or sex. It's just how you're expressing how you want to express your gender or how you wish to express yourself. It's nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with gender or sex.
No. Actually, I like that description, Outlaw. It's a good one.
What was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, like another thing is they try to say is that there's multiple sexes. Now they go into with the deformities in which intersex people, and basically the argument is saying because they have multiple chromosomes, they're a new sex. Well, then basically you're trying to say that people with Down syndrome are a new sex because they have more than an extra chromosome.
Or I remember
some of these people are missing a few.
One of the best ones which I saw was someone who was arguing that women have more chromosomes than men, thus women are superior or something like that. And then someone pointed out, potato has more chromosomes to humans, thus potatoes are superior.
It's ridiculous. Going with the idea that the fact that these people have multiple chromosomes, therefore they're a new sex, is retarded because because as I said, you're calling basically people with Down syndrome a new sex.
Yeah.
You know what this is just
That's very dehumanizing if I think
You know what this is just reminding me of? This is reminding me that the fact that in the shit Predator movie, The Predator, they try to argue that autism is the next stage of human evolution.
Yeah, I
remember that.
I mean, really, this is Hollywood autism where the kid is super intelligent.
I hate the super intelligent autistic Hollywood bullcrap.
I think at the moment it's only 7 people on this whole planet.
A lot of.
I gotta go.
Oh, all right. Bye, Demon. Good luck with the communist rats.
Yes. I'm not gonna say it.
Okay. Good luck.
Bye.
Those certain rats with big noses. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Have a good day.
Bye.
Alright. Okay, 1 down, 3 to go.
Anyways, let's continue on with the video.
You maybe isn't as surprising as it would seem. So like I said, I've made older videos on her, so please check out the ones where I say I stopped supporting her because of her promotion of Indian fascism, and the ones about why Nazis love Tulsi Gabbard. But to go over some points about her background, so Pace wrote a good article back in 2016. So the 35-year-old congresswoman from Hawaii was...
I mean, to be fair, it would make sense that white nationalists would support her because a lot of them are socialists.
True, but isn't she, like, Hispanic?
She's Hawaiian.
Okay, so Samoan. Or whatever. Hawaiian, I guess. White supremacists, like... Oh, my God.
Was raised in a politically powerful household. Her father, Mike Gabbard, is a well-known firebrand in Hawaiian politics. His most beloved issue is a virulent rejection of homosexuality and gay rights. The younger Gabbard protested against the bill advocating civil unions during her tenure in the Hawaii Congress, holding up signs decrying the proposition. The bill eventually stalled. So the article goes on to say, Gabbard replied to a request for comment on her father's connections with cult leader Chris Butler in 2004 with an oddly worded email accusing the Honolulu magazine of a homosexual conspiracy attempt to discredit her father. I smell a skunk. It's clear to me that you're acting as a conduit for the Honolulu Weekly and other homosexual extremist supporters of Ed Case, Gabbard wrote. The political position was held until 2012, when she made an about-face and declared she supported gay rights just in time for the election of Hawaii's 2nd District, and that wasn't the first time she had shed a piece of her past in order to make herself more palatable to voters. So I've listened to Tulsi Gabbard speak a lot, so I don't actually think she is homophobic, but it's clear her upbringing probably did indoctrinate her in a lot of conservative views. And as anyone will tell you, no matter where you're brought up or what political climate you are brought up in, there are lots of things that you will struggle to break away from, lots of prejudices, lots of certain opinions, that even if you do become more educated and everything, they will still linger within you, and we'll get back to that later.
Especially against black people and women.
Very much so.
She's playing along with a trans joke. Now, she was also a member of a Hare Krishna sect in Hawaii. Now, I don't want to talk too much about that because she is Hindu, but again, that is a more conservative organization she was a part of. Just playing into my feeling that she was conservative.
Yeah, maybe you should check out what the
Indians
Indians
she's
think
quite
about
conservative in a lot of
transgender
ways today, and I feel like that's all influenced her. Now, during her time in the spotlight, another problematic aspect...
Don't the Indians actually support transgenderism because they also believe in a third sex and everything?
Yeah, but it's more of a thing that comes out of social force. Basically, if you're caught being gay, you have two choices. Either turn to the third sex or be killed.
Yeah,
I don't think you exactly want that to be a positive message for the trans community. It's either that or death.
I thought that was just one of the Middle Eastern countries. I didn't think India did that as well.
Oh, no, I knew a town in my state far away that had a whole drama because 2 members of their town were gay and they hung them.
Whoa.
Oh, good thing you didn't come out in India.
Oh, I did do that. The only difference is I'm somewhere between 1.5 and 2 feet taller than the average Indian. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, they would be scary at the view of eating them.
Yeah.
I am more than willing to grab a chair and start attacking. I've done it before. In self-defense.
Which I've made a whole video on, is her links with the BJP in India, which is of course the ruling party led by Modi, and the RSS, of course, 2 hard right nationalist organizations with, very, very outright, I guess, fascist connotations. And a lot of the violence in India against Muslims at the moment is from this surge in nationalism in the country, Hindu nationalism specifically. And just quick, I'm going to...
Yes?
The northern Indians, the North Indian Muslims, they have issues with Modi, but they haven't faced any political... how should I say this? They haven't suffered any political...
Political persecution?
Yeah. What have followed political prosecution in India when it comes to the Muslims is the ones which wear full burqas, don't look like they come from India and look like they come from the Middle East, and try to force everyone around them to be Muslims. You may notice a pattern.
Whatever do you mean?
Yeah. What's this? I think it was Jim Jefferies who had a skit about being better than Jesus because the Romans would have been short compared to him, and so he could have beaten them and saved them. That's actually not that far from the situation with me in the chair.
Anyways, let's get on with the video.
Yeah.
Play a little clip of one of my old videos just describing what this organisation are and what they believe. So to give you a bit of background on these different groups, in 1925, the RSS was formed, a paramilitary force uniformed and armed. It was dedicated to the idea that all Indians collectively constitute a Hindu race, committed to basing the entirety of Indian society, culture and politics on religion, devoted to the notion that only a race traitor would vote for anyone
every
but
other
a
party I went to with family friends, Just one of the key discussions, because someone would always bring on politics, was quite simply just, yeah, Indians are the most racist people we know, and this is coming from Indians. They're racist against even their own neighbors. It's just part of the culture.
Yeah, most of the culture that he fears is in third world countries, not in the West.
Yeah, just don't tell him that. I genuinely wonder if there was a truly left-wing, like a truly liberal president, and they discovered how bad these third world countries. Would you believe that they would go to the nuclear option instantly if they're more than willing to try to kill people in the US?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Are you sure? Because my basic point of what I'm trying to theorize over here is the whole thing that how they're so quick and easy to try to kill someone in the streets.
Oh, you're talking about a third world country. I'm thinking.
No. I'm talking about if someone who was like Antifa levels of liberal became president and had to actually encounter with third world countries.
Oh, they might.
I honestly believe they would try the nuclear option because they would just have a mental breakdown. Because basically their whole worldview will be crushed beyond belief.
The world ain't as nice as I thought it was. Time to destroy it.
Nationalist and convinced that it was treason against the mother nation for an Indian to be anything but a Hindu. The preamble of the RSS, which is the umbrella organisation of all wings, including the BJP, that promotes ultra-nationalism in India, is to eradicate the fissurous tendencies arising from the diversities of sect, faith, caste and creed, and from the political, economic and provincial differences among Hindus, and to bring about an all-round regeneration of the Hindu Samaj. So obviously the BJP are largely anti-Muslim, and when Gabbard was asked back in the day by Quartz India why she supports both the BJP and Modi, she said, "There are many different areas and sectors where the US and India's growing friendship can cover mutually beneficial grounds such as defense, renewable energy, trade and global environmental concerns such as climate change. Modi impressed me as a person who cares deeply about these issues, and as a leader whose example and dedication to the people he serves should be an inspiration to elected officials everywhere. It is very important that the US and India have a strong relationship of mutual respect. The denial of a visa to Prime Minister Modi could have undermined the relationship. Had he used it as an excuse to reject having strong bilateral relationships with America, this would have been bad for both of our countries for many reasons, not least of which is war against terrorists. The relationship between India and America is very important." Now, Modi was banned from the US because he was governor of Gujarat, where essentially a massive riot took place and killed a lot of Muslims, and there is a lot of evidence that he was complicit in this, and it's not surprising given what he has done since he's been in power and really flamed tensions against Muslims, which has led to, a lot of lynchings and killings, and of course ramped up the tensions with neighboring Pakistan. So to stay on the obsession with Islam, she seems to have, in this same interview she gave back in 2015, I think, she says, "The ideology of these terrorists, which he just mentioned, is Islamicism. It is a radical political ideology of violent jihad aimed at bringing about an establishment of a totalitarian society governed by a particular interpretation of Islamist state law. Referring to terrorists as Islamic extremists is simply an accurate way to identify ISIS and other Islamist extremist organizations whose ideology is rooted in one form of Islamicism or another." So you guys also may recall how she became quite famous in right-wing circles, and why they liked her is because she said President Obama should call jihadists, should call terrorists Islamic terrorists. He shouldn't leave out the Islamic part of that. Now, on the surface, you may say, what is the problem there? She's simply saying you should recognize the role this religion plays in this terrorism going on in the world right now, which could be a fair point if you're going to make it part of a broader criticism of why these terrorist groups exist in the first place. So this is the problem with Gabbard and general people who believe this sort of stuff, mainly on the right. They believe that, I guess, Islamic terrorists exist in a vacuum, where extremist Islam becoming so prevalent is just something that came out of nowhere. It just one day a bunch of Muslims were like, okay, we're going to be extremist terrorists and take on the West. Of course, there is a deep, deep history there A lot of it has to do with Western intervention in the region, whether that is in Iran, and of course we all know the story, Bernie Sanders tells it, and I think even Tulsi Gabbard tells it as well, that, you know, the secular Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh was overthrown by a coup orchestrated by the CIA and MI6 to allow BP to get access to Iran's oil. And of course, what happened was the Shah was put in. And then, of course, his brutal rule prompted a massive revolution when people leave out that it was a very, very broad and diverse revolution led by communists, different student groups, and was led by Islamicists as well. Future Ayatollah Khomeini was one of the first prominent critics of the Shah. And eventually, in the chaos of his new regime, Saddam Hussein invaded and everyone rallied around the government, so you have a hardline Islamic government in Iran. And of course, Iran sponsors various terrorist groups, but let's not act like this is in a vacuum. Again, we have to dissect where the strain of Islam comes from, and of course you have other things like the invasion of Afghanistan.
I mean, by this fucking logic, you can also blame Woodrow Wilson for the Soviet Union.
Yep. Well, not only that, they have literally stated the reason they fight the West is because they're not Muslim. They've said it over and over again.
Well, yeah.
Not from Western intervention specifically.
But yeah, libertarians also make this kind of dumb argument that Islamists are attacking the U.S. because we attack them. No, they really don't give a crap about that. They just don't like us. Because we're not Muslim.
I mean, one of the reasons ISIS actually stated as to why they chose the United States as a target, and this is real, is because of Miley Cyrus.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they actually there is one instance where they cited Miley Cyrus as an example.
Wow.
And this was when she was doing her whole anti-Disney phase. You know, like eating a dog on stage. Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, like that. What he said there is a kind of like the same thing what libertarians like to say is that, oh, the Middle East just hates us because we're bombing them. No, they don't give a shit about that.
They bomb each other first.
I'm about to say, yeah.
I've always hated that thing. Like, you're bombing innocent brown people. No, that's not like. No, I don't agree with the wars. However, that's not what's happening, and that's not the reason why they hate us. It's like, stop lying. Yeah. Either you're lying or you're complete, utter retards, which, quite frankly, I'm thinking the libertarians are more retards because they're so stuck in their ideology they can't see the forest through the trees.
Now we're going through the different argument of whether they're retarded or brainwashed.
I'll go with the latter.
Imagine arresting Miley Cyrus for inciting terrorism. Jesus. Actually, she could be arrested for that.
But yeah, it's just...
I'm not joking. She could actually be arrested for that because when the first set of riots took part in, when Trump became president, she joined the rioters in New York and also helped set fires and encouraged her fans to also join the riots. So she could legitimately be charged with terrorism.
Wait, she did that this year?
No, back in 2016.
16, yeah.
I don't remember her doing that. I know Lady Gaga did that, but I don't think it was Miley Cyrus.
Lady Gaga, who else? I think so.
I think Miley Cyrus, although she still hates Trump, I don't think she ever did that because I remember her doing a video in which she said, I hope you, Mr. Trump, do what's right. And like, I mean, she's still a crazy lefty, but I don't think she's quite that far gone as the other Hollywood types.
No, it was only 2016, but
I don't recall her doing that. Like, I think Lady Gaga and what's the other? Katy Perry. Were two of the ones doing that. I don't think it was Miley Cyrus.
I'm trying to find it. Yeah, here we go. There's the video. Miley Cyrus breaks down after Trump wins the election. But the whole accepts thing. I gotta find the fire truck, the dump truck, because there is a picture of her where she's standing on top of a dump truck, which is on fire.
Let me see.
That's what I'm trying to find. Or I could be mixing it up with Katy Perry. I'm getting fully confused now. I just remember something.
Don't worry, everybody else does too. One pop star is another. Generally speaking, there are very, very few exceptions.
Yeah, I think you're mixing Miley Cyrus up with either Katy Perry or Lady Gaga.
Well, considering I haven't seen how Lady Gaga looks as a human being, and I don't know when was the last time, it's more than likely Katy Perry. Fuck. On a side note, I did stumble across this image I'm going to share in the private chat.
Anyways,
it's not controversial. To be fair, it could have been that they don't necessarily believe it, but just that they see that their fans are mostly Trump haters, so it's beneficial for them to take that stance. Yeah, but then it also comes down to the whole situation you get as what's happened with J.K. Rowling.
Mm-hmm.
Where the instant she says something that the radical fans don't like, and next thing you know, they're burning her books en masse.
Mm-hmm.
When was another organization burning books en masse?
Anyways, I figured we'd done enough with that one video with him, and we're going to go on to the next one in just a sec. But anyways, back to the whole point about the Muslims hating Americans. Does anyone have any other comments they'd like to say?
Yeah,
Americans, Europeans too.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
That was it.
Well, what I would like to say is that a lot of these movements and atrocities that ISIS is committing towards gays, and then particularly towards their women, isn't like other revolutions. It isn't like the American founding fathers. Isn't like the Soviets. It's in particularly linked to Islam. Their actions, their beliefs, their culture. It's culturally linked to Islam. Like, for instance, if it wasn't linked to Islam, half of the things that they're doing wouldn't have happened. Muhammad is a very shit human being, a warmongering son of a bitch, child molesting warmonger who did all these things, and they're following his example.
You gotta remember, Aisha, the mother of all Muslims, to be more precise, was 6 when he married her.
No, he only had sex with her when she turned at the age of 9.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but liberals keep saying, yeah, but he consummated the. I can't say the word.
Consummated?
Consummated the marriage at age 9, and it's like, this isn't fucking better, you asshole.
God, not even Japan would do that. If you know it's extreme for Japan, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but anyways, like, to the last point I would like to say, again, just rehashing it a bit, is that, like, to the libertarians and the Democrats, and especially the libertarians, because you're the most likely to maybe get it, the Islamist people in the Middle East don't hate America because we bombed their countries. That's not the reason why they hate us. It's never been the reason why they hate us. Drop that bullshit. And
well, it's sort of. About 100 years of tomfuckery between the British Empire, us, the Soviet Union, the corrupting regimes and other stuff has slightly helped push Islam to the form it was always meant to be.
Well, to be fair, they actually only more recently became, well, not recently, they only became the way they are in the 60s, once they were becoming Western, but then suddenly they had the big conservative movement.
Well, that was partially due to the U.S. campaigns and taking down Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, destabilize the region.
Yes, that stuff helped to do that. But my whole thing is they don't hate us because we bombed them or anything like
strictly.
that. It's because
I do think that there is a truth to it. Like, if your family got bombed by a predator drone.
Well, if your family personally got bombed, yeah, but the majority of them haven't gotten bombed from the U.S.
Yeah, so Saddam Hussein, and so there's partially another reason to that. He heavily promoted Islam and nationalism, and so he was so effective at promoting this religion. So the Shiites and what was the other one? Sunni Muslims. I can't remember which one was the majority, but he said once when they took down the essentially his government, they were going to put this minority into power, and they did it as a reflection of the population. I believe it was 10, and the other one was 13, and this essentially, in their minds, proved the suspicions that they're trying to boost this minority as the majority, and so that helped essentially even further destabilize the region. Saddam Hussein and other terrorists, some of the Soviet Union, some of the United States, helped radicalize the Middle East.
But yes, I'm not saying they didn't destabilize the Middle East. I'm just trying to say is the reason why the Middle Muslims hate the U.S. is not because of really so much that. It's just they just hate the U.S. because that's their ideology. Is they hate anyone who isn't Muslim, and they're a specific kind of Muslim. They hate everyone who isn't their particular kind of Muslim religion, of Muslim sect or denomination, whatever you want to call it.
It's a sect or a cult, whatever.
Anyways, that was my whole thing. Is I hate when libertarians try to say that because we bombed them, that's the reason they hate us. No, you don't need to say that to make it bad. Just say the actual truth. You don't need to go in propaganda lies to be against going into the Middle East. Like I hate half truths. Like I hate every political party because every single one of them do it. In fact, I put even more responsibility on libertarians because they try to pass themselves off even more so as this so enlightened group, and that no, you're not any better than the other parties. You lie pretty much just as much if it gets you your political ways.
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
I just hate that. Sorry if I'm going on a tangent.
Well, no. I dislike the libertarian parties too, because they're nothing more than a libertarian circle jerk that has no interest of actually winning or doing any good.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
All they're in it for is grifting. They just want the money. That's the reason why they're in this.
So you're saying that they want to be Jews?
Pretty much.
And another thing I'd like to say about Islam, the Armenian genocide, one of the first modern genocides, happened from the Ottoman Empire.
Yep.
And they, in the Ottoman Empire, developed several ethnic policies and has had several of these essentially nationalist views that has, well, helped inspire other fascist movements. When Hitler was looking to commit the Holocaust, he used the Armenian genocide as an example.
He also met one of the main perpetrators of the Armenian genocide. I'll find the picture.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get on with this next video. So the next video is entitled, What Can You Do? A Guide to Fighting Back, How to Stop the Rise of Fascism.
Stop Antifa.
And it's by the Serfs Times.
So,
another communist outlet.
All right. Well, we could try to invade third world foreign countries and liberalize them, but that didn't work so well.
Anyways, are we ready?
Yeah.
All right.
This is that moment where everyone, I think, can be united on one thing and one thing alone, and that is to stop the fucking fascists.
Shame, don't know what that is, you idiot.
A lot of people, and for very good reason, and it's not as if any of this is new. It kind of seems like 2020 is this horrifying moment in human history, and the unfortunate news is it's going to get worse. It's not like 2021 is going to be any better, because a lot of the reasons things are kind of just free-falling right now happen to do with us not addressing a lot of the systemic problems that are causing all the current problems that we're living through. And we are living in a time when we are seeing not just the early warning signs, but the actual signs of fascism. And unfortunately, it's coming at a time when, again, we're all terrified and we're frightened. And a result of that is that we are fighting a lot. We're fighting a lot on Twitter. We're fighting a lot on Facebook. Well, okay, no one uses Facebook. We're fighting a lot on TikTok, on the shores and the beaches of the TikToks and the Instagrams. The left is fighting the left on a pretty regular basis. And
that one's actually is true.
Sorry, what were you saying? Go on, Pizza.
No, well, he's right about the left fighting the left.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I just hated him using the phrase, what was it? We are fighting on the beaches of.
Yes, Churchill.
No, that is just awful in every reference. It's almost as bad as the picture of the 101st Airborne Division that Antifa is now trying to pass off. This is what Antifa looks like. Oh, fuck no. None of y'all fucking volunteer for the Air Force.
Well, despite, I don't imagine those people who went and fought the Nazis in World War II on the American front are people you want to use, heavily anti-socialist and communist, and probably bigoted.
Yeah, they didn't particularly be fond of the gays.
Super religious as well, like zealot.
Hey, if you're from the South, you probably didn't like other races.
Yeah, took the time, yeah.
Because what was that, 20 years before the Civil Rights Movement?
Yes, at least.
Yeah.
It's 45.
And it's, again, because we're all angry, and it's very hard when you, as an individual, you're locked in this position to know what to do, because it's very, very frightening. And again, we're not really addressing any of the issues that are causing all this stuff. So it's a scary time, and I get that. And that is horrifying. And at the same time, you have but to look to history to see why things are falling the way they are. And I don't want to use Godwin's law here, but if you look at the rise of Nazis and fascism, if you look at the rise of Mussolini in Italy, or even Francisco Franco in Spain, the early warning signs are all here, and they're happening globally. I mean, right now, the left,
so let's quickly
the left is
that. So, rise of Mussolini, we've already established. Starvation, and, the king was kind of a dick. That is very simplifying it, but okay. Hitler. He saw a problem in the country, and there was the whole issue with the German communists attacking everyone. Like, we gotta remember, the German Communist Party captured Munich, and I do mean captured Munich, for 2 weeks, which also resulted in a bit of a starvation issue. And then were liberated by the Freikorps. German soldiers who no longer had a job because of the armistice. And then they were given a job by Hitler, who was able to get people to pay them. So,
yeah, besides, all social problems are a little bit different. We don't have a fascist dictatorship as the size of China, who owns about half of our
we're
production.
also not in crippling financial ruin where there's physically... Because one of the key points that Hitler really harked on was the basic fact that in a short period of time, a loaf of bread in Germany costed 6 million Deutsche Marks.
How much?
And just to give you a representative of that, what?
Go on.
No, it went. Loaf of bread was considered a way of measurement in 1920s and early 30s Germany to consider how bad inflation has gotten. And in like a week's time, it went from 6 million Deutsche Mark to 14 million Deutsche Mark. And that was very important because A, no one in fucking Germany had that amount of money. And B, you couldn't even fit enough Deutsche Mark inside a wine barrel to pay for a loaf of bread. Last I checked, the United States isn't in that bad of a situation at the moment.
No, not even close.
Or any Western country, really.
No, but freaking media pretend to.
Anyways, then let's see. What was the other one you mentioned? Franco, the Spanish dictator. Civil War. And from the Civil War, 2 sides started to come up. We got the fascists, and then we got the communists. And in this situation, the fascist won.
We also got to look at the ideologies of each particular person. Like, they like to say Trump is a dictator, and in which...
Really
no, I mean, he's only a moderately on the gun control thing, and you guys actually want to have him take away the guns. So, and the other thing is that he's not economically a syndicalist of any sort. He's he's a moderate, maybe somewhat of a corporatist. I mean, he's not a full-blown capitalist. I would call Trump. But he's...
go ahead.
The Brown Scare.
Yeah, that's what I was just reading.
What the hell?
What?
The 2020s will be known as the Brown Scare. What do you mean by this? Because my mind
I think he's talking about the the Nazi thing. Weren't the Nazis called the brown shirts?
Brown shirts, yeah.
No, that wasn't the Nazis. That was their security force, which then later on was replaced by the SS, which were black, mostly. You know, good old Hugo Boss. There was a comment some time ago, which I completely agree with, which is, why do totalitarian governments have such fantastic uniforms? I'm not joking. Look at the Spanish. Look at the Argentinians. Look at the all of the military uniforms look fucking fantastic.
I mean, yeah, the Spanish is also the Spanish uniform is very sexy. I should probably get you a Spanish uniform, Zeke.
Why? Why Spanish? I'm half German and Italian.
Oh, I'll get you those too, but.
Why the Spanish one?
Oh, the Spanish one is more risque.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Designer do theirs.
No, look at the latest thing from Koi Kadman.
You mean Roy Codman?
Yeah. Fun fact, according to Wikipedia, Zimbabwe had an inflation rate of 79.6 billion% in mid-November 2008. Wow. That is just bad.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't print money.
And inflation rate from Venezuela is the worst we've seen in history, even worse than what happened to Germany in the late 20s.
Damn. That says a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to share the reason why I say the Spanish uniform. So I'm going to stop streaming this for just a sec. And we're going to share this.
That was a very loud
Okay, here it is. This is why.
Oh my god.
What?
That is the Spanish uniform.
Yeah, but that's not the fascist uniform. That is so-so. Also, this isn't the Spanish uniform.
I'm sure it's Spanish uniform. It's
this
Spanish
is the
military.
Spanish expedition. That is the Spanish, whatchamacallit? The special unit. You had the British Expeditionary.
Look at that cake. Okay. Well, then, what was the Spanish?
I swear to God, if an image of the Spanish Inquisition pops up.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
So, okay, Spanish fascism military. Is this what it's supposed to be?
Yeah, that one looks much closer.
Not as sexy as the modern one, then.
Yeah, it looks like a proper uniform. That isn't the Spanish uniform. That's what I'm trying to say. It's the special unit, the Spanish expedit.
Well, I gotta get you one of these then.
Fuck no, I'm not Spanish. I'm not getting those. I'm not gonna wear it. You can't force me. You are literally shorter than me by a decent amount.
Okay, let's get on with the video. Share audio. There we go. All right, let's get back to the video.
Before we go.
Z?
I'm just trying to find the unit in question. Why are you trying to get yourself on a list?
To be edgy, I don't know.
Z?
Brigade.
Spanish brigade.
I like that one. Very nice. Well done, sir.
Z?
God damn it, I just want to search for that one unit. Everyone is shorter than you by a decent amount, Z.
That's a lie.
Yes. No, actually.
Oh, yeah, he's 6'4".
I'm 6'5".
Really?
Yep.
I refuse to believe that because you told that after he said what my height is.
No,
are you really 6'5", or are you lying?
No, I'm serious. I'm tall as hell.
Show us your ID.
Anyways, let's get on with the video.
as a united body, we make up a very small percentage of the electorate. I mean, I always talk about trying to recruit normies or trying to win in the hearts and minds of people, and that's something that Bernie Sanders did exceptionally well. And without that, we've kind of lost our way, and it's become a very dangerous place because look no further than some of the biggest economies in the world. Brazil under Jair Bolsonaro, India under Modi. We are seeing fascist governments rise and take place all across. I mean, I don't have to point out.
I don't think the Brazilian president or prime minister, whatever he is, I don't think he's fascist. I mean, I don't. Is he authoritarian? I don't know. Maybe I would have to look at to see what he's exactly done recently.
As far as I'm aware, he's a nationalist.
I know he's a nationalist. That I know for sure. But I don't think he's fascist because, one, he's not economically, I think, a fascist. I think he's anti-communist stuff. And he wants to reduce government control over the economy, last I recall hearing, which he has been working to do. So, no, he's not fascist. But as for India, definitely don't know. I don't know anything about the Indian government.
How could he get into China?
If anything, he should be mentioning China, because China is pretty much a fascist country.
Yeah, I would like to say about this guy, I'm pretty sure if he didn't grow up as left-wing, it would be pretty easy to convince him that the Holocaust didn't happen, or B, that Kim Jong-un is an anarcho-capitalist. I mean, if you apply his hyperbolic logic to half of this shit across the world, Bernie Sanders would be far more capitalistic than anybody else in the entire country.
Well, yeah, a lot of people still try to pass Bernie Sanders off as some centrist left-wing person. It's like, it's fucking ridiculous. Bernie Sanders is a legit communist.
Yeah, financially collapsing the country by trying to pay off student loan debt doesn't seem like very centrist thing, you know?
As well as providing free crap healthcare.
Yeah, like he literally supported the Green New Deal, which was communist stuff, majorly.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah,
Europe and the rise of fascism. I'm sure everyone's pretty well versed in that. And we're seeing it in America. We're seeing all the signs of it. We're seeing a coalescing of powers united under the hatred of a common enemy. We're seeing the vilification of a people. We're seeing a consolidation of power. We're seeing increased military presence. We're seeing.
If anybody's uniting anybody under hate, it would be the left for just hating Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and there is no consolidation of power. In fact, you guys have been trying to push more consolidation of power, if anything. Trump has not been consolidating power at all. If he was an actual dictator, he would have taken your guns right away, completely, not just put in these a few regulations here and there on guns. Like, you guys are the ones who want to actually consolidate power to the federal government.
Yeah.
I hate this idea that they think that Trump is a fascist because he won't take away our guns and he won't consolidate power, and then you say he's consolidating power.
Well, what people don't understand is, like, when you have a centralized power, what happens if the power collapses or somebody dies that controls all that? You're going to have a power vacuum, which is going to cause civil war and all sorts of crazy crap to happen again. Like, say Kim Jong-un dies tomorrow, or is dead, actually dead.
Is he dead now officially?
I have no idea.
I don't think so.
But, like, for example, say he's dead. What happens to all that power?
Well, go to his sister.
Well, yeah, but he's said that. Well, you think there aren't going to be challengers to that?
There could be challengers, but I think she would probably get the most support. I think she's...
Well, considering the thing that Kim Jong-un's sister is more mentally unhinged than he is...
God help us.
And she is genuinely feared by the North Korean public.
Fair enough. Plus,
and, you know, Kim Jong-un also got the best successor to him, which would have been his uncle, which he... had him executed some years back.
So wait, is this the Spanish military uniform?
Yes,
Spanish
the other
fascist
one
movement?
is the one which keeps coming up. The one which you like is of a specific unit, and they've actually been told to change it.
And they're super.
No, God.
Well, I swear to God, if a woman gets us all killed.
Well, but this one's also kind of sexy, but in a more uniform way rather than the risque way.
I wonder if I can find a picture of my father's uniform.
Anyways, let's get on with the video.
Gestapo on the streets, bagging people up and putting them in vans. We're seeing a silencing of the media. We're seeing...
There's never been a silencing of the media. Nothing has happened to the media. It's a bull-faced pony soldier lie.
And people are being rounded up in vans. It's because they're doing illegal crap. They're rioting. It's not like they're just randomly picking people off. They're either wanted for something or they're doing something stupid.
Why is it always people think that the media is being censored by Trump? He's literally done absolutely nothing.
You wouldn't be talking about him that much if he was.
Yep.
A helping of corporate interests through the use of bailouts. We're seeing a galvanization.
I'll give him that. There is that. I will say Trump has bailed out some large corporations. I'll give him that credit. However, that's also communist kind of thing can be done too. So it's not solely. It's not solely like a fascist.
What are the large corporations that they bailed out? I just want to know.
He bailed out the airline industry. He bailed out the cruises. He bailed out. I think other large companies as well.
I'm not happy.
Yeah, how much money did he spend on that? Because I'm curious about the cash. Because at least the cruise and airline industry, which are drastically suffering, is at least somewhat justified of a bailout. What is not justified, in my opinion, is the several times Barack Obama has bailed out fucking General Motors.
Hell no.
When was the last time you've ever heard of a General Motors car? Because the last time I've heard of General Motors is of how their latest car is being scrapped because it keeps killing people.
Let's see. You don't drive a Pontiac. You don't drive a GMC. You don't drive a Chevy. No, Chevy. Yeah, Chevy. You don't drive an Oldsmobile. You don't drive a Buick. You don't drive. They have a lot. It's just not specifically one. General Motors. They have a lot of companies under there. Subsidiaries.
Also, you gotta remember Barack Obama gave, I think it was either $120 million or $200 million to YouTube.
Yeah, he shouldn't have done that either.
Of people surrounding themselves, trying to harken back to the good old times, the MAGA times, the Make America Great times. We're seeing 33% of Republicans right now who believe in QAnon. They believe in QAnon, something that is so far beyond the...
I'm going to see, is that even true that they believe in QAnon? Because I don't think most Republicans even know what the fuck QAnon is.
They probably think it's a joke, to be honest.
Let's see, QAnon poll. The awareness is... let's see. Can you find anything, Zeke?
No.
So, sources, sir. Yeah, not you.
The 41% of Republicans said it was a good thing for the U.S., but I don't see where they believe everything they say.
The hell is QAnon, anyway?
It's a conspiracy group.
Oh, Q?
Yes.
I don't think most people even know who the hell that is, let alone watch him. And I don't even think that Q promotes authoritarianism or mass murder or anything like that, you know?
Well, even still, sounds like they treat the guy like he's the new Alex Jones.
Democrats reported awareness at a higher rate than Republicans, 55 to 39%. So yeah, only 39% of Republicans even know what the fuck QAnon is. And 55% of Democrats know what QAnon is, which is still not very high. So it's mostly the Democrats who even know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And of that 39% who've heard about QAnon, only 41% of them had said that they think QAnon is good. So it's a very small percentage of Republicans who even think it's good for the U.S.
Well, good how? Because that's kind
I guess good in the sense it's good for as another outlet to get news out. Maybe I don't know.
Because that's the thing. Because like, I guarantee you, Alex Jones or something like that has more watchers for the entertainment aspect because it's either absolutely ridiculous or they find it funny, rather than actually taking it seriously. So they could be good as in a
entertainment way.
Yeah. So that's a very dubious question to begin with.
Well, even with Alex Jones, I sense he has good intentions. Like, I don't like the guy, but I don't think he wants anything terrible to happen.
Well,
like, for anything, he's a libertarian.
Yeah, he is, for the most part. And he doesn't, like, despite, he, like, this might be somewhat bad comparison, but, like, he's sort of like Milo Yiannopoulos taken to, like, the extreme without being gay. In that regard. But, like, I don't even think he takes himself that seriously anymore because he's been on Joe Rogan several times for obvious reasons. And I think he knows people don't take him seriously, especially if you look at the confrontation he had with Cenk. Because it looked like he was just fucking with him.
Anyways, let's get on with the video.
Pale that it blows my mind to even have to talk about it. They believe in a secret cannibalistic world of pedophiles that are controlled by, of course, the globalist elites, the time and honor tradition.
In that. I mean, literally Jeffrey Epstein. The amount of connections he's had.
Well, yeah, and the amount of kind of times people have covered up and only slightly hinted at that Jeffrey Epstein was a sexual predator.
Vilifying the Jewish people. All this is happening. We are seeing the rise of fascism in real time. We are living through that experience.
To be fair,
and
Jeffrey Epstein
it has to
and Harvey
fucking stop.
Weinstein does not help. It doesn't help that conspiracy theory set. Okay.
Like, this is that moment where everyone, I think, can be united on one thing and one thing alone, and that is to stop the fucking fascists. We have to stop the fucking fascists. That's what has to unite us. That's what we have to work on, because I'm going to be completely honest and frank with you. There is no movement.
You agree with what?
I agree with the guy. We do need to stop China.
Yeah, and Antifa.
Of the left under fascism. There's no pivoting under fascism. There's no growth under fascism. The Nazis, the fascists, they're the bad guys. And once they assume power, they don't let it go. And
there's no growth underneath fascism. I mean, literally, just on October 3rd, 1942. What is important of that date?
42 and 1939.
No, October 3rd, 1942.
What about that date?
It's the day von Braun made the first successful V2 rocket, officially pushing humanity into the space age. Even his own words is that even in his own words, he's quoted as saying, this wasn't in an autobiography, it was in an official report that he had to submit back then, of how he's introduced the world to the space age because he has given the means to it. And that's the reality. I mean, I'm not going to say that the Soviet Union didn't give us anything. The Soviet Union gave us a lot, but this is just asinine thinking that there is no advancement.
Yeah.
If you want an example where no advancement came, we can look at the Middle East and the number of times that there have been advancements with that.
What's funny is that, like, if you're talking early Muslim culture, there was actually a whole, like, Renaissance version.
Yes, I know they created algebra, right?
Algebra.
Yep.
Algebra. And we actually do use their mathematics system.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. But that was in the past. And now name something that they've actually advanced in the past 100 years.
Extremism.
Yeah. Disease.
I think you mean in the past 300 years, because I don't think they really created much in the last 300 years.
Yeah, I'm citing the last 100 years because of the complete advancement in technology prior to World War I and so on.
That's true.
Okay. All right, let's get on with the video.
once they have that and combine it with imperial ambitions, that's when you get the horrors, the bad times that I do not want to repeat. So again, that is the one thing that I think could unite all of us right now, and that is to push back against that. I think everyone's pretty much on the same page. However, I know that's not enough, so I do have a list I've made of what we can do. But hey, y'all know this meme, right? Yeah, you know this meme. The left is fighting the left is fighting the left, and the left. I'm happy to say that I've actually played a part in every single one of these. I've played every role. All right, I've been both lobsters at one point or another. I've definitely been both lobsters. I've definitely been, homie here, and I've definitely been her as well. I've played every role, and yes, I've been the money as well. I've been the currency of which people barter in order to see which side of the left wins.
Okay, is he off of his fucking meds?
I understand that there's not going to be any such thing as a united left. I get that.
Mean
all right,
that was also the money.
I disconnected for a second. What did I miss?
Okay,
Nothing much.
So he started off by saying that he's both lobsters. So I get it from the meme format, the left, and so on. But I don't get, what does he mean? I'm also the money, the currency. That's not part of the meme.
Maybe he's selling himself. I don't know.
Maybe.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
I mean, he's not that bad of a looking guy.
Like I said, get your mind out of the goddamn gutter. We're trying to do politics over here.
Do we need to get a roll of newspaper?
You might need the squirt bottle then, I guess. All right, let's go on.
That was a pipe dream from myself that came from a place of wanting to just have some weird cuddly Care Bear moment where we all join hands together and do a Care Bear stare as love literally emanates from our chests and we defeat all the fascists and the baddies and destroy capitalism. That was my idea. But hey, that comes from a place of extreme privilege. All right. Extreme privilege, because at the end of the day, it's not my place to say, hey, by the way, we need to ban and coalesce with that group there, when at the end of the day, people are like, well, yeah, but that group vilifies us, so I don't want to be a part of that. So here's the big question that everyone's been asking. What's to be done? What do we do? And I do have an answer, and I'm happy to reveal this to all of y'all.
Bothering me that he uses, like, is this Photoshop?
Yeah, that's Photoshop.
He's using Photoshop instead of PowerPoint presentation. For some weird reason, that bothers me.
You thought this was gonna be a lefty stream. No, that's it. Yeah, no, I'm full lib now. Yep.
Right.
It doesn't matter who you vote for. Just vote. Just vote.
Okay, I'll vote Donald Trump. It doesn't matter who I vote for.
We did it.
I'm lib right.
All right, sorry. No, let's go through these. Hey, number one. The number one thing we should be doing: mutual aid. I genuinely mean this. Mutual aid. Mutual aid. You can do any single day of the week. You can do it right now. You can do it in your sleep. You can do it as soon as you leave the house. A lot of people say that mutual aid has to be done in person, IRL. That's not true. I don't think Kropotkin knew that the internet was going to exist when he wrote that book. Okay, when he wrote mutual aid, I don't think he was thinking of, oh, one day we'll have this interconnected world of magic, and then we're all going to be able to send each other unicorn emojis all day. He never knew that was going to happen. But yes, you can do mutual aid over the internet. We did one a couple days ago. Like I said, we did one today. Sister Rose posted a link to a GoFundMe to help support a family that is in very dire needs. I'm going to post the link again. Someone donated $250. I'm sorry to people who say that that's not true. That is absolutely 100% mutual aid. You are giving material aid to someone who needs it. That can be done any way. You do not need to be part of an organization to do mutual aid. You can do mutual aid in any way you want in your community. Hey, do you want to go cook 4 meals and hand them out to people who need it? Hey,
how much?
Do you want to go cook 4 meals and hand them out to people who need it? Go do it.
Well, only 7,000.
Sorry?
How much views does this guy have?
7,000.
He would have a hell of a lot more if he was more tolerable to listen to.
Yeah.
Do that.
Like, by God,
that is
seems like a guy. He seems like he's selling car insurance rather than.
Yeah.
Mutual aid. Anyways, in these dark times, helping each other out, especially helping out those less fortunate, that is all very, very important. And it's in fact what I would say is the most important thing. We are united through solidarity. We are united through helping each other. That is shit you can do 24/7 every single day. And if you can, you will find out that it's actually very self-serving. It's egoist as all hell, because man, does it ever give you a sense of self-esteem and joy. It just fills your body. It's wonderful. So do it. Don't do it for the goodness. Don't do it for altruism. Do it for yourselves. You'll thank yourselves for doing it. Oh, and by the way, when it comes to mutual aid, remember that donating to charity is different. Now, I'm not saying donating to charity is bad. I'm not saying donating to all charities are bad. I'm not saying all charities are bad, but charities are organizations that you're giving money to, and then you're hoping that they're going to spend your money as best they can. Unfortunately, a lot of charities actually operate like corporate companies. They usually have very high overheads. A lot of them, including one in which my partner used to work for. She used to work for Big Brothers. Their CEOs still get about $150,000 a year. That's because, of course, they want their CEOs to be competitive and they want to operate like a business. Oh, and thank you for converting your sub, Caffeine Naps. And this is the second most important one. Direct action. Direct action works, okay? The changes, what
$100,000 is actually quite low for some CEOs. So
how much?
He said $100,000 is actually quite low for quite a few CEOs
of charities. Yeah.
Yeah. Of charities, of businesses in general, of large businesses in general. It's actually quite low for $100,000.
little crumbs of changes we're seeing right now in places like Seattle, for example, starting to possibly defund their police or at least reallocate their police funding into other things. That is not coming because of a vote. That is coming directly because people took action. That is coming because people stood up and they're protesting and they're having sustained protests that are working. It's because of that that you are seeing.
I don't think that he's going to have the. I don't think defunding the police is going to have the results that he wants. I think he's fucked things.
Well, plus he's not talking about protests. He's talking about riots.
Yes, absolutely. Sustained
change. So direct action is very, very important. It is how people notice you. It is how people actually take to account that, yes, there is the good old US of A. The US of A is a two-party system. I know people want to start worker parties. I know you want to organize. But if you do not infect the Democratic Party, and infect it well, by the way, if you do not get people institutionally into every level of government, then you will not see significant change at the political level. That is just unfortunately how the game is played in the US. So please continue to put people into office who are lefties. Get more lefties elected. Get more lefties into positions of power. Number 3, organize and unionize. If you are able to do so again.
But running a party better than the Libertarians.
Sorry?
Yeah, that's true.
I said he's running his party and giving better advice to the Libertarians.
I mean, yeah, he does. I mean, Libertarians are actually awful at getting any kind of power. Yeah, I mean, the communists have been far better at getting power than libertarians ever have.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, another thing is, he just said just go elect people that are left. Mm-hmm. They cause most of their own problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like maybe Republicans foreignly has caused some problems, but internally, their economic, their social problems are their faults.
To be fair, the Republican Party is a moderately right-wing, I would say. I wouldn't say it's a quite leftist. I wouldn't quite say it's left-wing. It is got some corporatist aspects. I mean, some of the Republican states I would classify as maybe moderately left-wing because they have a heavy control over their state economy. However, I wouldn't classify all of the Republican Party as a whole as entirely left-wing. I would classify it as at least moderately right-wing or center-right.
That's somewhat debatable sometimes.
I'm sorry?
Even that's somewhat debatable sometimes. There have been times where the Republican Party acted more like authoritarian Democrats. Those usually in like the mid-80s.
I think Romney is a good example of that. McRomney.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like Romney would probably be an example of maybe like a center-left person. A center-left Republican, probably.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get on with the video.
Something that's very important. Organize with your community. Organize with other leftist communes. Organize with other leftist organizations. You know what was amazing about Bernie Sanders? Bernie Sanders successfully galvanized and organized the left globally. And I mean that globally. People in Canada were volunteering. I was fucking phone banking. And I'm an enemy combatant. I developed a mobile game to help get donations in for Bernie Sanders because I was so inspired. And everyone was. It coalesced us. And now without that, we become this kind of wandering sea of all these different factions. And
even if I thought Bernie Sanders was completely right, the guy is not attractive. He doesn't have a good speaking, just being coherent. He's a very 80-year-old. He looks like a fucking gerbil.
The only good things which I know, which I've personally experienced from Bernie Sanders, is the Bernie bird and half of the fucking Uno memes where Bernie plays against himself.
Well, he at one point was somewhat nationalist, but in a really retarded way. Because he was against the TPP and stuff like that for a while. He was. I think he is now.
Anyways,
Also, isn't the political left arguably against unions?
No.
No, what I mean by that is they keep supporting Walmart, and Walmart is notorious for not wanting unions. And yet the political left seem to want Walmart to be the one thing that succeeds. Or, also Amazon, and also Amazon doesn't exactly have a good track record with unions.
I mean, they do and they don't. It's they
right back.
They like certain things, but they also hate it too.
No, I know that Walmart is fully against unions. That's also one of the key reasons why they failed when they tried to come to Germany, because Germany as a country is very focused around various worker unions, two of them, and Walmart just refused everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped them crumble very quickly.
But yeah, like if I recall, the left still hates Walmart and it still hates Amazon. However, there are some times where they like certain things they've said or done. I think it was. For example, they like the fact that Amazon advocates for an increase in the minimum wage. Which, quite frankly, they seem to often ignore the fact that Amazon, a company you don't like, is advocating for the minimum wage. Why might that be? Oh, let's put it away as well. Well, let's get on with the video.
Can you hear me?
Oh, you there?
I can hear you.
All right. Yeah,
because again, we're all scared and afraid. We're fighting each other as much as we're fighting everyone else. Okay, this is something that we need to do. We need to coalesce again, and we need to be unified in a singular goal. And that is also where union other employees you work for. Do you work for a software company? Access to the bone. I hate it here. Like, yeah, me too. Hey, wouldn't it be great if we controlled everything? Wouldn't it be great if we had voting rights in our job, the place where we spend the majority of our work? Wouldn't it be great if we had healthcare? Wouldn't it be great if we could actually decide the project we work on instead of making all this Caitlyn Bennett porn apps? Like, I don't know why we have to keep making poo apps, but we keep making them for her because we're paid to do so because we get all this money. Wouldn't it be great if we could choose our projects? Couldn't we make better projects? Those conversations, they are the cocks, and by which I mean they're based. So if you can, form a worker cooperative. Or it's going to be controversial, and it's not clean up your room. I'm sorry. It's coalition building.
So what I'm thinking that he's saying is he wants to take out most of the decisions by corporate or the people up top.
He wants a syndicalist system in which the people would own the
means of production. Yeah, I know what syndicalism is, but that would be very terrible. No one would ever have the incentive to want to build anything. And B, on top of that, these people are billionaires for reasons. They made these companies off of their decisions, their choices, their work ethic. They created it, not them.
Also, Val, do we know if any syndicalists, even small ones, that have been even moderately successful in the sense of being able to stay open?
Unless if you play Kaiser right now.
Like businesses that everyone owns a portion of the company in which they each have equal decision-making powers.
No.
Do we have examples of them failing at all, or?
Yes, the Anarchist Cafe in France, the Antifa Cafe that happened in Regensburg.
Antifa?
Then there was the Anarchist Bakery that happened in California a couple of years ago.
What about the bakery in France?
That one just opened, so give them a couple more months and we'll see if they're still around. Except the difference is I think this one is going to completely fail, even worse than the California Anarchist Bakery, because the California Anarchist Bakery wanted payment of a minimum of $1 but you can choose how much you wanted to pay them. The one in France is entirely free.
I thought they weren't free. I thought they charged some money.
No. That one was in California. The one in France, you can donate to them, but aside from that, what they're offering is free. So let's see how long that one lasts. And like I said, it's only been open for like a month. Even terrible restaurants typically stay open for several months. So give it time.
So what if they operated, though, on a profit basis? Do you think they would be successful? Do we know of any?
Because already, as far as I can find with the France one, there's infighting.
I see. So they have a lot of times infighting.
The issue is that typically the people who don't want a boss want to be their own boss. And as we know, too many cooks in a kitchen doesn't work.
Yeah, true.
And this is something that's important and something that I understand that some people can't do. And I understand also that this is something that people are just going to want to have to sit on the sidelines for. I respect that. Okay. I respect that. I get that. There are some coalitions people do not want to build. I know there's a handful of people here who hate blank content creator. And for that reason, I would tell you, don't watch the content of blank content creator. But if someone like Joe Rogan, and believe me, I hate Joe Rogan. Trust me, I am talking about Joe Rogan as a huge piece of shit all the time. He's a transphobe. I completely agree with you. I'm with you. He spreads dangerous conspiracy theories. I completely agree with you. I'm with you. But if Joe Rogan wants to go on his show and say everyone should vote for Bernie Sanders, then I'm going to take a step back and say that's good. That is good that Joe Rogan did that. That is good that his millions of fans and listeners are for a second going to be like, okay, and then listen, and then maybe look up Bernie Sanders' platform. Maybe look up what it's all about. Maybe Google it. Maybe look it up. And maybe they might just de-chudify by 10%, 15%. I don't know. And I'm not saying that 15% chuds who all of a sudden say trans rights are people that you have to call your friends. You don't. But at the same time, if he's willing to do that, that is going to make the left stronger. That is going to help the left win elections. That is going to help the left stop being relegated to the sidelines like we have.
You mean a decent point of trying to get the left to work together?
No, he's making a decent point. This is how actually a friend of mine got me to be a Trump supporter, because initially I supported Hillary, but that was also because I still believed in the mainstream media. But my basic point is he wasn't the crazy Trump supporter that the media made it out to be, and he just told me, well, if you don't believe me, just look at what Hillary has done.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is a legitimate strategy. The only problem is the political left does not like what happens when you search what happens in communist nations.
Yeah.
Have been for so long. So it is very important that the left becomes better at winning elections and understanding when we can take a step back. And if it is the case of Joe Rogan, the horrifying conspiracy theorist transphobe, if he's going to tell his millions and millions of listeners that they should vote for Bernie Sanders.
Hasn't Joe Rogan had Buck Angel on before?
Hasn't he what?
Had Buck Angel on the show before.
I'm not sure.
He's not a transphobe, is what I'm saying. It's like there's no way. No, he's saying there's a reason why there's a men and women's sports, and why trans people shouldn't compete in women's sports for obvious reasons. It's not transphobia. That's just biology, dude. It's not. Joe Rogan isn't a transphobe for pointing out biology.
Yes, but remember,
he's greatly argued for trans rights and everything.
But yes, but remember now, Big Red, biology is transphobic.
Yeah, apparently.
Biology is now transphobic and sexist, racist, homophobic.
Stupid science.
I mean, do you all even know what J.K. Rowling said that got her to be the transphobe status and got her fan base, a good portion of them, to burn their own books of Harry Potter and stuff like that?
That biology exists?
No. She found basically this interesting case of how in Britain they're trying to pass, and I don't know if they passed it, this whole thing of how doctors have to recognize their patients in the preferred gender that they want. And basically the argument is you can't do this because certain medications, which are for men or for women, are toxic to the other gender. And she basically said that as much as you want to be this other gender, your body is still physically or genetically this type, so certain medications can be deadly. And that's all she said, and that's what got her to be a transphobe now and hated by her own fan base. It doesn't take much to get certain crazy people to be crazy.
Anyways, we have one comment here. Oh, let's see. There's one comment.
I would say the Republicans are technically on the right, but the entire American political zeitgeist is very left. So what is considered right-wing in America is mostly actually leftist.
I still wouldn't say that. I would still say the predominant majority of Republicans are at least moderately right-wing, and the Republican Party itself is at least center-right. I wouldn't classify them as leftist because I would still say there is some diehard, more fiscally conservative Republicans. I'd say about half and half, probably. About half of them are maybe like moderately left-wing to maybe centrist or center-right, and then there are the more actual fiscally conservative Republicans in the Republican Party who are actually right-wing, actually like capitalists. Anyways, let's go on with the... Oh, wait, sorry. We have one other comment here.
Unions suck. I worked at a job that had a union. I was the only employee that worked hard. Everyone else worked the system to half-ass their job. Okay.
Well, yeah, if you all get paid the same amount for the same amount of effort, why would you bother working harder than anybody else? It's the whole problem with unions in the first place.
True.
Yeah, that's why I think Germany is actually quite good with its unions, because German unions are basically there to ensure that you're not screwed over and basically has no focus on equal pay or whatever.
Well,
that is all up on the responsibility of the business to do on their own as abiding by the law. It's just to ensure that like your business doesn't steal from you, your business isn't squandering you, and especially your business isn't trying to use you as a scapegoat for whatever other illegal practices they might be doing.
Is there a safety organization for that too?
I don't know.
Like an OSHA?
I forget. Are the German unions, are they government or are they private unions?
I think they're private.
Anyways, let's get on with the video.
Then I again am going to say that's good and take a step back. Because again, I think go reach out to the ACLU, reach out to other organizations, reach out to organizations that do pro bono work. The other thing is, yes, contact your representatives. I know we forget about this sometimes because it seems odd because we just have a kleptocracy or an oligarchy in the United States and Canada because, yes, the corporate interest controls so much of what we do and they control politics as well. But guess what? We forget oftentimes that they're supposed to serve us. That's the entire point. And guess who stays in power? The libs and the conservatives. So as long as we only give power to the libs and the conservatives, then we find all of our favorite tech companies, all of our favorite social media companies, whether that be Twitter, Facebook, even Google, and they control the lives of 2 billion people. And these AIs, they designed them. But now the AIs are self-learning and they're learning on their own. And you know what they've realized? The AIs have realized that anger and dissent are much more powerful human emotions for getting clicks and likes and retweets than anything else.
Okay, what the hell is he talking about?
He's talking about social media at this point. I just kind of fast forwarded through some stuff.
Yeah, I know, but what AIs? We don't have a self-aware AI running these things. I mean, or do you prefer what happened to, not me, Chad, I forgot what was the other one.
I think he's just talking about the algorithms in a sense.
Yeah, but that's not AI, that's an algorithm, that's entirely different. I'm more thinking of what happened to, I forgot what was the chatbot in Japan, but does anyone remember the chatbot Microsoft released some years back?
I know what the AI was Tay AI or something like that, but they corrupt her and made her essentially a Nazi.
Yes. Even the one in Japan is just depressed and loves Hitler. even the other one in China is also depressed and loves Hitler. The one which they sold off to someone else, and then there's another one in China which we're not going to get into that one because people tend to express their resentment of communism through her, and next thing you know, they got a knock on their door.
Anyways, we have a comment here.
Unions work as long as the system where unions are operating is a capitalist system and not corporate union system like in America and other countries. Unions must be private to work in a good way.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, you hear I don't know how to. Should I say Jay Willie? Would it be pronounced that way?
Yeah.
J-Will series.
I'm just gonna say series. I would agree with you there that yes, a private system, union system works much better than a corporate or government union system. Which I really would wish we didn't have any of these government unions. Like I want to get rid of the teachers union. It should be privatized. Same thing with the police union should be privatized. All of these unions, there should not be any government unions. Anyways, that's I think that's it for this video, and I think we're pretty much done here for the day. Did anyone have any other final thoughts or anything?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. So I think we'll just skip doing the cooking video for this week. We'll probably do maybe one for next week.
Yay, my stomach. I'll be safe.
Anyways, for those who are watching, please go ahead and follow Neko Boy. He wasn't able to join with us sadly for today, but you can check out his YouTube channel. That's in the description. You can also check out his Twitter. I believe I have a link there. Also check out Z Commander's Twitter and his Discord link. That's also in the description. Neko does Greek culture YouTube videos, stuff like that, while Z Commander does he takes commissions for building different kinds of models and stuff, so you can pretty
My website is linked below. It has a portfolio.
Do I have a link down there as well?
Yes. Okay,
so yeah, that's linked there well, so you can make different kinds of models for you. So go ahead and commission them, and also think about talking with Big Red if he's going to eventually open up his commissions. He does some fantastic art.
I was actually working on the character design when we were chatting.
Which I would like you to give me some social links, like when you do open your commissions up, so I can put them in the description.
Will do.
Yeah, so go do that. And if you really like my content here, please consider subscribing and donating to my Patreon or to my Ko-fi. And of course, there's another thing I would like to mention is I'm going to be having my next video on Wednesday, which will be on the Electoral College. So when that comes out, check it out. And also subscribe to my Medium channel, or not Medium channel, my Medium article, social media. I write articles there periodically. I want to try to get into writing more articles on Medium. I've only got currently, I think 11 followers on Medium, which is like nothing really, especially compared to my YouTube. I mean, my YouTube channel is still not big or anything, but still. If you guys can follow me there, share my articles with people you know and stuff like that, consider doing that. And as I said,
or share it with people that you know it would piss off.
And also consider again donating to my Patreon or to my Ko-fi. It can used to be help me with other ways with work and stuff. So consider doing all that, and I'll see y'all later.